I want to thank everyone for tuning in. There's a lot you could be doing on Wednesday nights, and I appreciate you showing up for this particular service. We all create this together. And so with that, let's take a collective breath and simply drop in to exactly where you are right now. To breathe in that which unifies us all, this unique moment and breath. And as we feel that connection to the oneness through the breath, through the essence and the being of this very moment, we simply recognize the peace that is already here before it's looked for. And so from that peace, I know that this evening is blessed, that the speakers who will be speaking, the sharers, all of which are simply blessed. And what is spoken here will nourish not only those in participation tonight, but the ripples that come out of this meeting will nourish those that we know not yet. And so with that, I simply give thanks. Blessed be, so it is. And here we are again. And so the topic is oneness in a divided world. And if I were to look at the world right now, my blood starts to get kind of excited to the point where I don't like the feeling. There's kind of an anxiety, in at least my own life, sort of a low-grade anxiety. And never before have we faced this particular type of health crisis, which is also hit economically, and which is also testing our moral stomach for what's going on in our politics right now. So we have a threefold pandemic of health, economy, and where our moral standing is. And we just, if you've been watching the news and what's going on, not only with Black Lives Matter, but what's happening with Portland and what our president's doing, it's enough for me to get all worked up. I don't know about you, but I'm pissed. And when I'm working on this topic, oneness in a divided world, it's like, oh yeah, oneness. Where, how do you find that? Because there's times when I just do not feel it. And my hunch is that I'm not alone in this, number one, and my hunch is also that this is kind of what spirituality looks like. Spirituality is the comfortable times and the uncomfortable times. And Gandhi said, those who say spirituality has nothing to do with politics, they do not know what spirituality really means. And I think that's true. Because spirituality has the capacity to include all of it and not to reject it. Not to say that that's not a part of oneness. If it's shown up, it's part of the whole also. And that's a tough pill to swallow. So tonight we're going to kind of look at that. When I say true spirituality, it's like, well, what does that mean? That's that inclusive space that includes the good, the bad, everything in between. It's taking the dance and dancing all the way through the dance. When you're tired, you slow down. When it's fast, you move up with the pace, but you're dancing all the way through. And the dance is a long dance, and the dance doesn't stop. The mind likes to divide things up. It likes to divide things into starting and stopping points. But life doesn't start and stop. Even when I go to sleep at night, there's something within me that is still awake, that wakes up in the morning, knowing what happened in a way during sleep too. And so, how are we viewing life? Are we viewing life from a very narrow perspective? What that means is I'm looking just at the foam on top of the wave that's on top of the ocean. And my focus is so narrow that all I can see is the foam. I can't even see the wave, and I certainly can't see the ocean. And that's perhaps our dilemma, and that's the trance that we live in. The trance that we live in is one that where we're focused so tightly in on our own emotional makeup, our own emotional way of seeing, our emotional programming, that our trance doesn't allow us to see beyond that, doesn't to see beyond our connection with our environment and with each and every person on the planet. And what I mean by true spirituality is the meaning of the ability to see that we are inseparable from this vast oneness of now. And when that's seen, our behavior starts to change. There's a good thing, and I call it the miracle of neuroplasticity, which means that the mind has a remarkable way of relearning, reprogramming, if it's given enough practice. Because what you practice grows stronger. That's kind of a little phrase that we're going to be repeating again. Let's try that together. What you practice grows stronger. What I practice sets down new neural pathways in the system. When I first learned to ride a bicycle, there were no neural pathways. There was no coordination between balance and pedal and the hand steering. But given time, we set down neural pathways, and after a while, it became automatic. So now, years later, we climb on bicycles, and we already have those neural pathways. But what if those neural pathways were pathways that did damage for other people? There's a lot of people out there that I for one, would like them to have different neural pathways, because the way they're living, they're doing damage. They have a very clumsy way of showing their appreciation. It's a damaging way. So how can we help the situation where we're in right now? How can we make a difference? The fact that you've showed up tonight means that you do want to make a difference, that you've signed up for this journey, that you're in for this, that you're down for transformation, for making a difference and for making quality of life different on the planet. So where do we start? Do we start with the outside world? Do we start changing our friends and loved ones? Well, we know that that doesn't work. I've been married for 41 years. I'll tell you, it doesn't work. So given that, where can I start with myself? Do I really know what's running me, those deep programs of prejudice, those deep programs of privilege, of all of what I take for granted, and not realizing that I'm taking it for granted? And this is what Black Lives Matter and how crucial this is as a spiritual journey, to wake us up not only to our privilege, but to our role in using that privilege. And that role of making a difference, and a positive difference in the world, so that we uplift everywhere possible. Now, dear Paul, has a practice called being a beneficial presence. How can we be a beneficial presence on a daily basis? And that's the work. But before that work can even start, we have to recognize that we're in a trance. And that trance is that we don't necessarily know when we've been hijacked by our emotions or by thoughts. But when an emotion hits, we don't realize that that emotion is running us. The emotion isn't informing us, it's actually running us. So the first place to start is to start looking at emotions and thoughts that reoccur that do not bring us peace, that bring us anxiety. And then to balance that with emotions and thoughts that bring us peace. So I like to call it name it to tame it. Cute. So what that means, if I can name my emotion, I'm really feeling pissed right now. I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling unseen, unloved. I'm feeling fearful. I'm feeling joyful. Whenever we can actually name the emotion, and this is your money's worth for tonight. If you can name the emotion, you've got one leg up on it, because to name it, you have to be separate from it to see it. Otherwise, you're immersed and connected with it. You're infused, you're in the trance. As soon as you stop and name the emotion, then questions can come up. Wow, I'm feeling really cranky or pissed right now. The next question is, how long do I want to feel this crankiness or this upset? Great question. Because it might be that, hey, I don't want to feel cranky right now. That's serving me. It's serving me to be angry right now because I'm getting things done. So it's no emotion is bad. It's just the noticing breaks the trance. And that's the important part to remember. So breaking the trance and being able to see clearly. Because emotions are here for a reason. They all show up. They're kind of like smoke alarms, you know, they're annoying, but they alert us to things. It could be danger, it could be good times, it could be a bunch of different things, but they wake us up and they say, hey, pay attention. So emotions are part of our survival, very important. But the important thing is now, are they controlling us or are they informing us? There's the big one right there. So name it and tame it is one way we can start to take a look at the upset. We can start to take a look at slowing down. Because in order to drop into oneness, it's pretty darn hard to drop into oneness and to see our connection when we're upset. It's virtually impossible. It may be for you, but not for me. After I've broken the trance, and I still haven't settled down, the next thing, which is in my toolbox, is to reach out. See, if you're stuck in quicksand, what's the best way out of quicksand? Is to fight it, flail around, or do we just slow down, get really quiet, and perhaps reach our hands up to something or someone who can gently pull us free? And the key word here is gently and slowly. The mind wants a quick fix. When it's suffering or it's in pain, it wants to be handled now. I want to get out of this. I don't want to go slow. But maybe that's the best thing to do. There's a marathon friend of mine, Peter, he said, sometimes in order to go fast, you have to go slow. Sometimes in order to keep going, you have to slow down, perhaps to a walk, until whatever that is passes and you can start running again. So if you can have a conversation with your mind about maybe slowing down a little bit, knowing that you just keep moving, and whatever that was will pass. Usually does. So we're going to try a little exercise on connecting. What I mean by connecting is to actually see another person. Because what we do when we see people, the mind goes in and connects the image with what it sees to the history of what it knows about that person. And it goes, oh, yes, I know this person. I'll take Paul for an example. When I see Paul, oh, I know Paul. We have a history that goes back years and years and years. And so, do I see Paul freshly in this moment? And that's the practice. Or do I see my entire chain of events with Paul? So we're going to start with a little practice. It's going to be 2 minutes. In a moment, Zoe will be queuing us up for that. We'll be in partners. And there'll be an A partner and a B partner. And the A's, we're going to be asking the B's. Very simple. They're not going to be asking, they're actually going to be saying, I see you. And what they're going to be doing is they're actually going to be looking as if they've never seen this person before. And for some of you, this will be true, which could be fun. But if you haven't, if you do know this person, is to say it from that place of never seeing them before, beginner's mind, starting fresh. I see you. That's the A's part. And the B's part is, I am here for you. And the B's will respond. And then the A's will say it again. I see you. And the B's will respond, I am here for you. And once more, A's will say, I see you, and B's will reply, I am here for you. Each time that you say that, for each partner, see if you can say it freshly. You might want to take a breath between each time you're saying it, so that you sort of cleanse the breath so that you're actually starting fresh with each time you say, I see you, and each time you say, I am here for you. And after you've gone through a cycle of 3, then I want you to switch A's and B's. So now the B's will be saying, I see you, and A's will be responding, I am here for you. I hope you've got those instructions. I'm pretty sure you have. So that basically the statement is, again, A's will be saying, I see you. B's will be saying, I am here for you. And Zoe, if you'll break us out now and give us our 2 minutes, I appreciate it.
Okay, so folks, remember if you're going to leave the breakout room, don't leave the meeting, just leave the breakout room. If you find yourself in a room by yourself, then return to the main room, okay? Because we don't have an even number of people. Gabriella, I see you.
So,
Yes.
it's Nikki. I don't have a person.
Oh, okay. Nikki, let me see if I can get you in with Gabriella. Now we're kind of running out of time here. This is one of the problems with these breakout rooms because it's an automatic setting. So
Four of us now.
I can see with Nikki.
Oh, I'm here.
well, I see you.
I see you.
I'm here. Once more.
We've only got a few more seconds actually before we're going to be coming back together again.
I see you, Vicky.
I see. I'm here for you.
And I see you,
Paul.
You, Paul.
Okay.
That's your whole
Come
thing.
back now.
I really did see Gabrielle there for a minute.
Okay. Everybody should be coming back shortly.
Okay.
Well, I'm here for you.
Thank you. I see you. I see you, Gabriela. Are we, yeah, unmuted. It's a little confusing.
We're all coming back. Yeah, and I think you have to unmute yourself. When you come back into the room, you're muted automatically. So
Okay, there you go. I'm back.
It's Bonnie.
Bonnie, hi Bonnie.
Hey, how's everybody?
Hi.
Wasn't that a great exercise? That was really sweet.
Yeah, that was good.
So who would like to share what that's simple, little being present to another? Does that slow our nervous system down a little bit? Who'd like to speak to that?
I'll share.
Sure.
Well, Freya and I have known each other probably 25 years, I think. And so it was just an amazing time we felt each other. I mean, I could feel her and she mentioned she felt me. I mean, and it was fun and playful. And it was just so nice to connect. We haven't connected like that for quite some time. So I'm like, oh, it was delightful. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Really, Christopher.
Who else?
How about, Bonnie, or is that, you want to go, young man?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's Bonnie. I was
Hi,
just going to
Bonnie.
say, I am just always amazed as to how quickly we can connect on a human level. It doesn't even matter if it's technology, Zoom, different ways on the phone. It's just an innate ability to connect when given the space.
Well said. Who else?
Oh, well, I found it fascinating that each time we said it, we dropped in a little deeper.
Yeah.
And it was even more interesting because my video was blocked. So Tanya couldn't see me. So she said, I see you to my name and to my essence, apparently. And it really came through. So it didn't need the picture. I thought that was really interesting too.
Wow. Just throwing it out, how many of you felt that each time you said it, it got a little bit quieter or a little bit more vulnerable or sincere?
Yes, deeper. Deeper each time.
Deeper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else would like to speak? Okay.
I can, Bonnie was my partner, and yes, everything you just said, we went a little deeper, and it was so heartfelt. These were just two very simple phrases and sentences, and I think we all resonated deeply just hearing it several times, and we were connecting with each other on such a deeper level because we're in our spiritual village, and this is the essence of what we are, and connecting on that level is totally different than just chit-chat conversation. And it was just two sentences, 3 times each. And thank you, Chris. Yeah, it was a deep exercise. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Well, this is a pointer. It's like when we get this quiet and this in a way vulnerable, we are actually opening to another. Something happens. We soften some way. We break a trance. It's a certain way of seeing things. We don't see the wave anymore. We see the ocean. We start to feel the ocean. And that's the whole point of the oneness. When I speak of oneness or practicing oneness, that's what I'm speaking to, is the disappearing of the individual and starting to become more aware of the wholeness of everything rather than just our own thought process and our own small focus. And so we can say, oh, what are we focused on? Are we focused on the foam on top of the wave? Are we focused on the wave? That would be wider. Are we focused on the ocean? Well, that's pretty big. But what about starting to include the whole ocean? All of it. And that starts to get like, whoa. Because I can look out at the ocean, I can go across the bridge and look at the ocean out there, and it's pretty vast. But when I start to consider if I were to be on a ship going out 5 days into the middle of the ocean and there's nothing around, that's pretty big. And I mean, you get the idea. So Marshall Rosenberg says, our survival as a species depends upon our ability to recognize that our well-being and the well-being of others are in fact one in the same. Another way of saying that is if I can assist you in some way, that somehow it assists my well-being also. And I know you know that's true. When Marshall, I used to take classes from Marshall, and he would say, what's the most important thing you can do, most satisfying thing you can do on the planet? And he would ask that every single lecture, what's the most satisfying thing that you can do? And the interesting comment was, you know, what came up time and time again was the most satisfying thing was actually assisting another, knowing that you made a difference in somebody else's life. Powerful. And I think that's true when you it's immensely satisfying. Whether they thank you or not, it's just sort of did the right thing and it feels good. And that kindness, somehow building that kindness muscle opens us to the oneness in ways we just don't realize. But it is the doorway to understanding and recognizing the oneness. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, that astrophysicist that appears on Nova, I think he's great. And he says, the theory of evolution, like the theory of gravity, is a scientific fact. Evolution really happened. Accepting our kinship with all life on Earth is not only solid science, it is also a soaring spiritual experience. When we can get that there is no way that we can be disconnected from this planet, that we grew out of this planet, that the planet is, as they say in the Earth tradition, it is our mother. It always has been. But yet we're in a trance where we don't see that. All we see is the foam on the water and we miss the ocean. And so I think what we're going to do now is we're going to actually try to have an experience of oneness. We're going to get quiet. So get the idea you're going to be quiet for about, maybe 5. So let's do it for 6 minutes. See if you can do that. In fact, forget the 6 minutes. You'll just know when I start talking and bring you back, that's it. So there's no reason to go into groups or anything. Okay. So get the idea you're going to be quiet for about 5 minutes. And there's no particular way you have to be. It just needs to be comfortable. And so take a breath. And as you take the breath, you're taking a breath and you're really feeling the breath this time. You're feeling the breath as it moves through the nose hairs, and it feels cool as the inhale comes. It simply feels, as you breathe in, it feels coolness in the nose. And you exhale and it feels warmth. And immediately you start to quiet down. And at the same time as you're quieting down, you can actually feel the room. You're not only feeling your breath, but you're feeling the room. And your eyes, if they haven't closed, now are gently closing as you start to move into the interior, an interior landscape which is not personal. It's that silent landscape that is open to everything. And as you start to settle into this interior landscape, which includes your body, noticing that whatever thoughts arise, they're just not important. And it's easy to feel that you're just being, just as you are. Noticing that there is no judgment or comparison. You're simply resting. And as you notice the body, you can feel this tingling, alive sensations of the nervous system. You can feel the residual aliveness that you know as your body. But there is something that simply can notice the body. That all of this is appearing within this vast inner landscape. All of these sensations. And in this quiet place, noticing there's no need for a future or a past. Everything is just this moment. And this moment is ever changing. And so from this quiet place, give yourself the freedom to be exactly as you are. Giving yourself the freedom to be exactly as you are. That you are free to express your highest, your most powerful, your most loving presence. And you're also free to express the less flattering aspects of your being also. That you're free to express all of it. No judgment. And at the same time, there's nothing to grasp for, because in this moment it is complete as it is. As you simply become unified with this now, no separation. It is only all there is. This life, this moment, this silence. And so taking another breath, and feeling the room, and getting a sense that the room can actually feel you too. All of this in this dance of oneness. And so take your arms now, and gently move them up so that you can give yourself a hug. And feel this fabulous body, the gift that you give to the world, your vehicle of expressing love in the world. And as you give it a hug, you give it a blessing, just as it is. And I take another breath, we take it together, we release it, we come all the way back into the room. Notice if you feel any different, just taking that time to simply be. And giving yourself permission to be, and in essence, to disappear for a while. So, I'm going to ask Zoe, if you guys are willing, is to break up into partners again. And this time, greeting people from this place of unity, and simply sharing, what's it like when I disappear into the moment? What's it like when I experience this oneness, a place of no separation? What is that like? And if you want to remain silent and simply smile at one another, that's great too. You're certainly free to do that, whatever works for you. So again, what's it like when you sort of disappear into the moment and all things just are exactly as they are? So Zoe, if you'll break us in now.
How much time, Christopher?
6 minutes.
How many people together?
2.
Okay. Folks, if you wind up by yourself, please return to the main room. Okay, and I'll get things set up. You have to unmute, Judith. Okay, I can you hear me, Judith?
I can now.
I can hear you. Okay, so we'll be together, you and I.
Oh, excellent. Is your desire to stay quiet or talk?
My desire would be to listen, actually, if you would like to talk.
Okay. Sometimes in meditation, I find myself remembering the exercise that I would do as a beginner in the Gurdjieff work. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
But we would work on, we'd have work days on Sundays, and we wouldn't talk generally. We would have something that we would do at this place we called the barn. And but we would not be, it wasn't social so much. You know, we might be cooking or digging, or it could be anything really. But the work, the exercise was not, we didn't say, I see each other. This exercise that we did there or we did at home was that asking whoever we called God, the one power, to see us. I ask God to see me. And I am present for that. And so I found myself like really liking it and wanting to put the two things together. Where when we were talking about, it came out of I see you. And then there was a part of me that wanted to ask universal law or spirit to see me, Judith, just this, a being as a child of God. I wanted to do both. And I felt that about the exercise where I said, I see you, or I was the one saying, I am here for you. I really didn't want it to stop. I wanted to see how deep I could go. I think that's all that I feel like talking about. I'm finished. I'm complete, as we say in Al-Anon, where we used to be in Al-Anon, and you say, I'm complete after the end of what you say. Yeah. And I wished one thing, I wish that there was some way that I could do something like this before I sit down to meditate, because I've been having a challenge meditating and allowing myself to be distracted by whatever comes through.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, I would like to it might be that I might call someone and ask for a prayer first,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's going to work. So,
Well, you
blessing.
know one person you can call for prayer, most certainly. Okay, I'm going to bring everybody back now.
Ready.
Laura.
Ready, ready, ready.
Okay, folks, so when you are ready to speak, make sure that you unmute.
Okay.
So hopefully the second time around was a little smoother than the first.
No, they were both fine.
Second time was great, so that was fun. I had a great partner.
So did I.
Me too.
Christopher, you're muted. Christopher, you're muted.
Alice, hi.
Hey.
Hi, Nikki.
You can shout out to your
Yeah.
wonderful partners
Oh.
and to thank them.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
Thank you, wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Marco.
Hey, Paul.
Thank you.
My boss.
So,
Thank you, so.
Thank you, Judith.
Is it?
Oh.
so
Oh, there you are.
these are just tastes of when you disappear, when the I disappears and what's left is totality or we or just a bigger picture. This is what is meant by oneness, is when the I disappears, oneness is always here. And it's when I am sort of self-focused all the time and self-centered all the time, I'm in the trance. I only see the foam of my own issues and problems on the water. I don't see the ocean. But the practice of oneness is being able to drop back away from the foam, is to drop into the water, is to forget oneself. And that can be done in connection with another person. It can be done in meditation. It can be done outside in nature and beauty. It can be done in your doing the dishes or cooking. It can be done at any time. It's simply the shift of focus from away from the me into the we, into all of it. And so we have a couple more minutes. The practice of oneness is it's basically letting go into now. It's what Eckhart Tolle would do, would be the power of the now is recognizing that the now is all we have. Oh, there we go. Nicely done.
Yeah, you have it.
Thank you, Reinhold.
It's all we have. And where our power lies is when we drop and we break the trance. When we come into our own power, which is not ours, which is the universal. And that's what the oneness is recognizing the universality and the power that comes from thy will be done rather than my will be done. And that's a shift. That's where it takes the practice. So, remember we said that. What you practice grows stronger. We're going to repeat that again. What you practice grows stronger. Okay. Another thing to remember is if you can name it, you can tame it. If you can name your emotion, you can break the trance. And you can no longer be at the mercy of your emotions. You can use your emotions to inform you, like a smoke detector, of what's going on. Another thing to remember would be, where is my focus? Where am I focusing on? You know, it's like, do I want to feed the dog of danger? Do I want to feed the dog of love? What am I focused on? And that will definitely affect our future. Because that goes back to, what am I practicing? What am I focused on? It's the same thing. And Damien Smythe said, we are one. We've always been one. We will always be one until we think that we're not. And it is with that first thought that brings us back out of our oneness into our me-ness, our my-ness, my personal me, and I forget everything else. But what if we were to notice that we're inseparable and that we need everybody? We need everyone. As you look at your beautiful screen, you see all of these lovely faces. We need each and every one of us exactly as we are to complete this garden, just as it is. And so I'm going to stop for now. I'm going to turn it back to Paul. And I really want to thank you for playing with me tonight and your wonderful adventurous spirit. Thank you. So let us pray. And let's take a breath together and turn inward again to that deep silence, that inner landscape, where distinction has never gazed, that unified wholeness that is always available, even before it's looked for. Knowing that we're inseparable from this oneness, I claim and accept a greater emotional capacity to allow life to be exactly as it is. I no longer demand that life show up to please me in any way. I claim a new level of peace and comfort, knowing that there are no blockages to my growth or expansion. And so I call for the divine wisdom within each and every one, claiming a new oneness, a new oriented response to this life, a new kindness that responds to this life in compassion and in love. We are blessed, and we are a blessing. For this I am grateful. Ashe, blessed be, and so it is.